Welcome to another exciting and informative episode of the Entreprenudist Podcast, the place to hear real entrepreneurs and business owners bear it all. I'm your host, Randolph Love III, and today we have another great entrepreneur on the podcast today. Today is no difference, but before we bring them on, I want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by Shield Wolf Strongholds, a wealth growth and protection company. When it comes to estate planning, when it comes to employee benefits, when it comes to retirement planning, when it comes to life insurance, if your plan ain't Shield Wolf, your plan ain't strong. If you're a business owner that wants you and your employees to retire higher than you would have prior, make sure you visit shieldwolfstrong.com or call or text at +1 904 822 4262. Now to our guest, John T. Hewitt, CEO and chairman of Loyalty Brands LLC. John T. Hewitt is a trailblazer in the franchise industry with over 5 decades of success. He founded Jackson Hewitt Tax Service in 1982, growing it from 6 offices to more than 1,000 nationwide before selling it for $500 million. That's $500 million. In 1997, Hewitt launched Liberty Tax Service, expanding to 4,000 locations across North America before its acquisition. Today, as CEO of Loyalty Brands, Hewitt leads a portfolio of complementary businesses, including A-Tax Tax Service, serving underserved communities, and Zoomin Grooming, a mobile pet grooming service. His multi-brand strategy reflects his ability to identify and scale market opportunities. Known for his hands-on approach, Hewitt personally meets every franchise candidate, resulting in over 5,600 franchise awards and helping more than 1,000 individuals become millionaires. His leadership combines innovation with mentorship, challenging conventional wisdom while providing actionable frameworks for success. Beyond business, Hewitt supports global hunger relief through Rise Against Hunger, recognized as Entrepreneur of the Year by the International Franchise Association in 2005. His legacy is defined by empowering entrepreneurs and transforming franchising through vision, accessibility, and purpose. John T. Hewitt, welcome to the Entreprenudist Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Randolph.
Oh, man, thank you for having us. Definitely, if anything, you definitely know how to spread a name. Before, when I saw that we were having you on, I already knew the name of Hewitt. I already knew the name of Liberty Tax Service. So if anything, you're good at spreading your name. Is there nothing that you know now that you wish you knew when you first started?
Oh, I've learned millions of things. You know, there's no school in this country on how to be a CEO or how to build a great business. And so I've been in the school of hard knocks for 43 years. And I'm still learning every day. And,
okay.
So I have lessons that are usually small, but some very, very big.
Can you give us one?
Well, I'll tell you one of the most stupid things I did. I was with H&R Block for 12 years and running 250 offices, and they had 9,000 offices, and I bought Little Bell Jackson and had 6 offices. And I set a goal to have 9,001, to add 8,995. And so I thought I was pretty good, 33 years old. I had 6 offices. First year, 6 months later, it was August, 6 months later, I had 11. 12 months later, I had 15. And then going into the third year, I was going to have 22, which is pretty good growth from 2.5 years from 6 offices to 22. But I realized if I was going to get to 9,000, I would be like 800 years old. And so this strategy isn't the way to get to 9,000. And I stupidly, I don't know why I made this mistake, but when I started at H&R Block in 1969, they had 95% of their offices were franchised. And I didn't do any franchising. So I immediately switched to franchising just before that third season, because we were going, even though rapidly, not going to ever meet my goals. And it paid off. We grew to 6,000 houses and became $1 billion company. But I went 2.5 years before I sold my first franchise. Huge mistake.
So sounds like you wish you would have started franchising sooner than later.
Exactly. And now I've had 10 franchise systems since then. First day I'm franchising.
And the franchising system is a great system. It allows an owner to grow and expand their brand using other people's money while also simultaneously waiving a lot of liability. But it does require a lot of time and trust. What qualities do you look for when you're recruiting these employees and potential franchisees?
Well, we look at it. They need to have these things. Number one is they need to be capable of being self-employed. And while 2/3 of Americans say, yes, I want to be self-employed, half of them can't do it because they don't have the get up and go. They don't have the risk tolerance. They don't have the perseverance to make it. And so first thing is, can you be self-employed? Secondly is, okay, if you're going to be self-employed, then what industry should you be in? And then if you pick our industry, tax, for example, or our pet industry, then are we the right company for you? So are you meant to be self-employed? Is this the right industry? Is this the right company? And finally, is this the right time? And timing comes down to how much money you have, how much free time you have, because to succeed in business, you need both time and money. And so it depends on those things. And is everyone healthy in the family? Are you taking care of aged parents? Are you healthy? Is your spouse healthy? Are your children healthy? So it comes down to those 4 things.
I mean, and everybody says yes to those questions, right? Everybody says, yeah, I got to get up and go. Yeah, I got time. But I imagine that after starting so many locations and from meeting personally with each of these franchisees, I know one of the mistakes that franchisees and franchisors make is do they have enough money to pay the franchise fee? All right. And were they able to get approved for the funding to get the location started? And some of them never even meet with the franchisor, or the franchisee never even meets with the franchisor, or vice versa. It sounds like that for you, that's not a good idea. It's not just about the money. It's about actually seeing the person.
Yeah, our mission statement, Randolph, is having fun, improving lives. And when I was a kid, when I was in high school, I was just as self-confident as I am today. But you can't call it self-confidence when you're in high school because you're just cocky until you prove it. Now I've proven it. I've built 10,000 offices and $2 billion worth of companies. And so I've proven it. So, but when I was a kid, I knew I was going to get rich. I was poor, knew I was going to get rich. And I thought I'd just make a few $1 million and retire. And then I realized, what would I do? Okay, I'm young, 20, 30, 40 years old. I'm rich. And what do? I mean, what's my life? And so I realized the journey was the joy. And if on Monday morning you're going to work and you're not looking forward to it, if you're living a thank God it's Friday life, that's the wrong life. I live thank God it's every day. Thank God it's Monday. And that's the life you need to lead, where you love what you do. And there's nothing more rewarding, nothing on this planet than improving other people's lives. And when we mean improve lives, we mean our employees, our franchisees, our customers, our vendors, and just giving back once we're successful, giving back to the world and making that a better place.
It seems like you're embodying it. And who doesn't want to help other people make money and help other people realize themselves? But you can't do it for everybody. So is resume important to you, or does that not matter when you're recruiting?
Well, just keep in mind the 10 most important 2-letter words. The 10 most important 2-letter words. If it is to be, it is up to me. So, Randolph, it is to be, it's up to you. So when I give you this opportunity, and my job, my job is a franchisor, and I've been doing this for 56 years. I'm going to give you the best system on the planet. If I do my job, your job is to implement that system and do it with zealousness. Be zealous advocate of the system. Now, you would think that after doing this for 56 years, the average franchisee today that starts is about 30 years old, 30 to 40. Not one ever listens 100%. So what we're looking for is people to listen. If you listen and you do it with passion and drive, then you're going to succeed. If you don't listen, you're going to fail. It's black and white. And I've had, as you said earlier, I've had thousands of people that have become millionaires, but I've also had 1,000 people that went out of business. And the only difference is the people that become wealthy, they listen 98 or 99%. The people that go out of business listen less than 90%.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite quotes is, "We are all self-made, but only the successful will admit it." We are all self-made, but only the successful will admit it. And a lot of times I make the mistake of assuming that quote is self-explanatory, but you know, the certain demographic where I don't understand. What do you mean? No, what it means is, you see those successful people. Yes, it takes a team, and yes, I'm sure they had mentors and help like John, but they had to take the initiative to get to those people and get around those people and recognize those opportunities. The same for the people who seem as if they can never catch a break. It was, yes, there are external factors that exist, but you are the one that's only focusing on the negative ones and not taking advantage of the opportunities. So yes, wherever you're at, good or bad, you were the primary contributor, if not the full contributor. So, and I know that that's not something that people just automatically are born with. How do you help people cultivate that winner mentality?
Yeah, the way I describe it is a couple less words than you use, but attitude is a choice. Make the right choice. And, you know, those people that don't see that they are their own biggest, you are your own biggest proponent, and you're your own biggest weakness. And so it comes down to not the circumstances that surround you, but how you react to those circumstances. And so God gives people opportunities, doesn't give them endless opportunities. But you know, one of my favorite phrases, is I don't use it that often, is God helps those that help themselves. And so you got to participate. You got to participate. You just can't sit there and say, I believe and I do this. And talk is so cheap. Talk is so cheap. You just have to get in the arena and get going.
Oh, yeah. There are people that say, sometimes in a romantic situation, or sometimes in a professional situation, he or she is giving me mixed signals, right? They're giving me mixed signals. And what I've come to understand is, when somebody is giving you quote unquote mixed signals, it's because you're trying to reconcile what they're saying versus their actions. When really and truly, it doesn't really, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter what somebody says. It matters what they do. And it even goes a step further for me. I don't even care how somebody says things. I care about how they choose to move. Pay attention to what the fruit that they're bearing, not just what the fruit looks like.
I had a great conversation a few years ago with a woman, and she told me for 3 hours at 3 different restaurants. We had dinner, and then she wanted to go out and have a drink. Then she wanted to go out and have another drink. And she told me for 3 hours how she could never date me. And it was by the end of the night, she was dating me. So
not realizing.
I mean, it is mixed signals, and you're right. You got to read between the lines.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, women vote with their feet, right? You going from place to place, and you're a smart man. You probably realize, if I take her to place, in her mind, it was like 3 dates. I'm already to my goal. And I know one of the things that you run into, especially dealing with potential franchisees. A lot of these franchisees are usually people who had managing positions at corporations. Now they're finally transitioning into wanting to build something with the assistance of a system that's already been proven. But I'm sure when you meet them one-on-one, they have plenty of what if questions. What's the reason you don't answer those?
Well, first of all, I can't solve all your problems. I can give you the best system, but I can give you the best. Pretend you're driving a NASCAR race and I give you the best car and I tell you how to shift it or when to do this. And if you do exactly as I say, you're going to win. But you're going to think sooner, especially if you're experienced, you're going to think you know better. That, yeah, he doesn't know this. He doesn't know this situation. And so you're always going to think you know better. It's a human frailty. I mean, humans have gone against God from Adam and Eve. I mean, humans think they know better, and they just don't. If you think, I'm the great grandfather of franchising today. I have 5 great grandchildren, so I get to call myself a great grandfather. And I founded 2 of the top 100 chains in the country, along with McDonald's and H&R Block and Kentucky Fried Chicken and Jackson Hewitt. And I've founded 2 of the and only one that's ever done that. So if I say to open on these special days of the year, change your opening hours from 9 a.m. to 7 a.m., why would you not listen? But people just can't listen. It's and if you have children, you understand what I'm talking about. And I consider my franchisees children as my children, kind of. But even if you don't have children, you've been a child. So you understand that there are times you should have listened to your parents and didn't. And it's so tough. But it comes down to a decision you have to make. It comes from inside of you to do the right thing.
Oh, yeah. You say they're dumb, smart, and wise people. Dumb people never learn from their mistakes. Smart people learn from their mistakes, and wise people learn from other people's mistakes. It seems like it's a lot of people who don't want to take the opportunity to learn from your mistakes and not have to touch that hot stove.
Even the smart people are rare, let alone the wise people. I find that less than 10% of people are learning from their mistakes, and let alone the less than 1% that learn from the mistakes of others.
Now, this requires an ability to be uncomfortable, and being uncomfortable is not the human condition. It is the more you think about it, but a lot of people surface level don't realize. How do you get people out of their comfort zone? That's an interesting point that few people mention. Few people mention that to succeed, to rise above the crowd, you have to be uncomfortable. I mean, human beings are herd animals. They like their fraternities and their sororities and their Democrats and Republicans and Catholics and Jews and Muslims, and people love their groups. And it's so hard to run. It is uncomfortable. Success is uncomfortable. To succeed, to change the world, to make it a better place, you have to do something that goes against the grain. If you copy everyone else, you're just going to be like everyone else. So you got to step apart from what everyone else is doing and do it different. And boy, there's constant discomfort in success. Oh, yeah. The Pareto principle, 80% of the outcome is basically determined by what you do in the first 20% of the process. Those vital few important high impact activities. How do you help people monitor the difference between results and just activities? That's one of our principles, is monitor results, not activities. And so many people are so bad at it. So many executives. I had a CFO in one of my companies. He was generally a good employee and a good guy, but he would sit and watch out the window at when his staff was arriving for work. And he wanted them there by 8:30 a.m. or whatever time it was, right? And I could care less, right? What I do with you is, you work for me,
You report to me. We set down your goals and your budget. And from then on, I'm here to help you. And I don't really care if you work 30 hours a week or 90 hours a week. Once you have your goals and your budget, that's all I care about. So take all the time you want off, and then you got to monitor it all along the way, right? You don't wait until the 365th day to judge whether you made your results. You're making results every day, every week, every month, and you're on top of it, and you're communicating with that. And so it's so hard to get past. One of my favorite books on that subject, The Effective Executive by Peter Drucker. And he tells a great story in there about General Ulysses S. Grant. And to make a long story short, he had a general that did nothing. The first general in the Civil War did nothing. He just sat there and he didn't want to make a mistake. And then he hires another general. He won't make a mistake. Then he hires Grant and he starts fighting. And he wins one, loses one, wins two, loses one, and we're winning the war. But apparently Grant's an alcoholic. And so Congress, they send a group of congressmen up to Lincoln, and they said, you got to get rid of him, Mr. President. He's a drunk. He fires his guns in the air at night. He has a dog. He swears like a trooper. I mean, he's an embarrassment. He's an embarrassment to the U.S. Army. You got to fire him. And Lincoln called his secretary over and said, James, he said, find out what brand of alcohol Grant drinks and send a barrel to each of my other generals. And most people, they want to hang someone for a mistake that they make, or they didn't work enough hours, an activity. People need to be able to make mistakes. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. You have to look at the results. Of course, if you had made a crazy mistake, like you had shot someone, you couldn't put up with that. But you have to learn that people with great strengths have great weakness, and you have to hire people for strength, not to avoid weakness.
Of course, John, you are a very wise and verifiably successful man. And I would definitely, I can actually keep asking you questions forever, but I know you got a hard stop. But that said, let's say somebody was wanting to, they've probably been in management for a while. They got some money available, or they got some access to money, and they would love to align themselves with you to follow your system, and while also have that sense of ownership. What is the culture like with loyalty brands, and how do you define it?
Culture is so important. Randolph, when I was a kid, I was still in my 30s. I didn't know what separated great companies from ordinary companies. And finally, I wondered what was different about the executives at Walmart versus the executives at Kmart. Walmart is massive success, right? World's largest employer, multi-trillion-dollar company almost. And Kmart going down the toilet and Mary Sears and going down the toilet with Sears. What's the difference? Are the people at Walmart smarter? Are they more experienced? Are they more educated? And I said, no, you can hire the smartest person. You can hire the most educated person. You can hire the most experienced person. So that's not the difference in the leaders of those two companies, but the results were incredibly opposite. So I realized that it comes down to culture and attitude and the way that you treat people and do the right thing. So culture is the unique differentiator between ordinary and extraordinary.
The leading differentiator. And so what would you say is the differentiator between your culture?
You hire for attitude. Tom Watson Sr. said, founder of IBM, one of the founders, said, give me 100 great engineers or give me 100 people with great attitude. He said, I'm going to hire the people with great attitude because I can teach them engineering. You can't teach people attitude. And, again, you talked about mistakes earlier in the conversation. One of the biggest mistakes I ever made was trying to change people's attitude. Never did it one time for any length of time. I could do it for a week or a month, but if they have a pessimistic, bad attitude, they go right back to it. So you hire for attitude and then teach the skills.
Oh yeah, as the twig bends, so grows the tree, and it's easier to mold clay than it is to chisel stone, right? Both can be something that you can look at and say, I'm glad I did that work, but I think I'd rather mold some clay or shape the growth of a twig than have to climb a tree like an arborist with a chainsaw and chisel out hardened branch, or get my chisel and hammer and beat through hard stone. Is there a question that I did not ask you that I should have?
Oh, there's tons. We should do this again.
I mean, I definitely hope so, man. Because once again, as soon as I knew I had you, I like, oh man, I'm gonna ask him so many questions. But like I said, when you get in the presence of a man like this that's verifiably successful, you definitely want to respect their time. Before we leave, please let people know who you are, what do you do, and how they can get in touch again.
I'm easy to find at John at loyaltybrands.com. And we call it Loyalty Brands because I have 24 people that have been with me 25 years or more. So I just attract great people and keep them for forever. John at loyaltybrands.com.
Thank you so much for coming on, John. This has been another episode of the Entreprenudist Podcast, a place to hear real entrepreneurs and business owners bear it all. I'm your host, Randolph Love III. And if you are listening to us audio-wise, make sure you check the show notes so you can see more about John Hewitt. And you can also click the link to watch our beautiful ebony and ivory immaculate faces in your places. Until next time, remember, don't play with it, stay with it until you make pay with it. This is the Entreprenudist Podcast, signing off.